Here now, Mark Thiessen, American Enterprise Institute scholar and Fox News contributor, Amy Kremer, co-founder and chair of Women for Trump, and Richard Goodstein, Democratic strategist and former advisor to the Clinton presidential campaign. Good to have all of you with us.
Good to be with you, Mark.
So we just heard from Sean Spicer, so I'm going to go straight to Richard Goodstein with your reaction here about what's going on and what we saw today.
Well, he referenced the Constitution several times, and to your credit, you pointed out that this does not have to be delivered in person in the House. I also say he referenced this 2013 bill that every single Senate Democrat and 14 Republicans voted in favor of that had $46 billion, including $8 billion for a barrier. I would say if Donald Trump wants to call Nancy Pelosi's bluff, have Mitch McConnell and bring that bill up today or tomorrow, and let's see where the votes are. I believe that Nancy Pelosi would get the House to vote for that, and that settles it, okay? This letter of his, withdrawing the plane, he's saying take commercial into a war zone where we've now tipped off people who are our enemies that the number 2 person behind me in succession is coming, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just saying, I just think, and he's also referred to it as a PR stunt. That's what Donald Trump thinks.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: isn't it a
is.
PR stunt to suggest that the State of the Union can't be done, and that Secret Service and Homeland Security can't protect the Congress? Isn't that also the same?
I would say that Nancy Pelosi, we've canvassed some, but not every single agency, including Secret Service and so forth. Do I think there was some gamesmanship? Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. The president went abroad to Iraq during the shutdown. So the notion that somehow her being abroad,
and incidentally, over the holidays, and we're at a different stage of this whole game now.
The last time that he was there, she left.
Thanks, Richard. All right, Mark, go.
Yeah, so, I mean, it takes a lot of chutzpah for the Speaker of the House to send a letter to the President saying that because of the shutdown, we can't provide security for you for the State of the Union address, but she can get on a government plane and have all the security in the world that she needs to go to Afghanistan. I mean, come on, give me a break. So, look, I understand why the President did this. He's a counterpuncher, but I agree with Lindsey Graham that it was counterproductive, because the thing is, this really pleases Donald Trump's base. I mean, me and everybody else who wants the president to succeed, we're cheering this. But we're already with him. The people he needs to win over are persuadable people in the middle who are frustrated with this shutdown. And polls show 71% of Americans want both sides to compromise and come up with a deal. His job is to show that he's the adult in the room, that he's the one who's staying in the Oval Office, doing his job, offering to negotiate, offering to compromise, while they're pulling political stunts. And instead what he did was he got down and did a political stunt as well. It's counterproductive to what he's trying to accomplish.
Amy, what do you think?
Well, I think that, they need to feel it at the top. And President Trump stayed at the White House. Nancy Pelosi jetted off to Hawaii. Now, part of her delegation was in Puerto Rico for a fundraising trip. And now she was about to jet off. And 30 minutes before they were to leave from the Capitol, they get a reroute. That's what we call it in the airline world. I'm a former flight attendant. It sounds a lot like Nancy wants to go jet around the world when she needs to get back to the Capitol and do her job. Why is it that she can jet off during a government shutdown? The president stays there. Then she extends the invitation for the State of the Union, but now she wants to pull it back. It's nothing but political stunts. The president is trying to deal with a real crisis that our nation is facing, Martha. Women for Trump brought angel families to Washington this week that have lost family members to opioid abuse. They've lost family members to illegal crime. And this is a situation that lives are at stake on both sides of the border. There's not a life that should be lost because our border is unsecure. So let's get back to the table and let's deal with it and fix it for all Americans. He's putting America first, and that's exactly what he was hired to do.
All right. I want to switch gears here just for a moment. I want to play this video from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. There's just interesting juxtaposition. Everybody who is getting attention these days is using the platform of Twitter and everything else to do it, and she seems to be mastering it for her party. Watch this.
The truth of this shutdown is that it's actually not about a wall, it is not about the border, and it is certainly not about the well-being of everyday Americans. The truth is, this shutdown is about the erosion of American democracy.
Richard Goodstein, I actually thought we were going to also show the one where she's teaching new members of Congress how to be more successful on social media and Twitter. But that obviously is her on the floor. Richard, is she an asset or a liability right now for your party, do you think?
Well, it's funny. The right hasn't quite figured out how to try to knock her down to size. And there are people who are in the Democratic Party who are concerned that she's dragging things a little too far left. So far, she's got all these followers. She's figured out a way to connect with millennials. She has harnessed social media in a way that maybe even Donald Trump hasn't. And yet she hasn't really pulled policy. She talks a good game about the Green New Deal and 70% tax and so forth, but she's not yet moved the needle in terms of policy outcomes. So I would say actually she's kind of a mixed bag.
She's very authentic, Richard, and she's making it difficult, I think, for some of these early candidates. You've got Kristen Gillibrand and Elizabeth Warren, and she's sucking all the oxygen out of the room for these people, Richard.
Well, look, she's getting attention from the TV networks. Great. When we start having debates, when we start having real contests, there's going to be plenty of oxygen given to every single candidate. I don't think that Elizabeth Warren is complaining about what AOC is doing in terms of grabbing the headlines right now. Look, and again, she got 14,000 votes in her primary. Democrats got 23 million votes during the primaries. Hats off to her for getting all this attention, but let's keep in perspective what she does and doesn't, kind of control.
We'll see. All right. Thank you all. Great having you here tonight.
Thanks, Martha.
Thank you.